We are live now. Let's wait for a few more seconds.
Yeah, just face turquoise covering eyes.
I'm hearing some weird noise, Manju. Are you also hearing that?
Yes,
From where is it is coming?
don't know. Maybe I'll remove my earphone. Wait. Now?
Yes, now it is not coming. What was that?
Don't know.
Yes.
Maybe I just removed my earphone and connected back.
Okay. Okay, so let's start.
We are live. Yeah.
So much of echo today. Huh?
Yes.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. This is Shiv, and you are watching OT Security Huddle, the 12th episode of this series. And this is exactly 1 year since we have been doing these sessions. We started last year in March with the first session on OT security. Now we have finished almost 14, 15 session. But in the series of focused discussion, this is 12th episode. Today we have chosen this topic which is cloud for OT. And the reason why we have been choosing this amazing topics every single time is because of there are some discussion that is happening in the community. In past few years, there is a big development that is happening towards this new technology like cloud adoption and the 5Gs, which is enabling your infrastructure to be moved from your traditional systems to OT system, to the cloud-based system. And that's the reason we thought that today we'll discuss how we can use these advanced technologies like cloud for your operational technology or industrial control system. So that's the background. We will be covering bunch of topic on this in this particular session. But before that, I welcome you all. And if you are watching this session for first time, we have done such sessions in the past. You can watch them all, either on LinkedIn Live or on the YouTube channel of OT Security Huddle. Along with me is Manju, who is also part of OT Security Huddle community, and together we have been doing this session since last 1 year. So, welcome, Manju, and thank you for putting your effort on this amazing topic. And we have a lot to discuss. And let's begin with a formal introduction from your side.
Thanks, Shiv, for arranging this session. I think it's been a quite long time that we didn't do any sessions for under OT Security Huddle. But it's good to see, we are picking the topics as and when required when the community itself talking towards, new technologies, what is happening across industry wide on the OT security. So it's good to to discuss on the cloud for OT in today's session. What are the recent developments that we will be going through? So yeah, first of all, thank you very much for providing an opportunity to talk on this topic. which is also, I think, in the community, few people are tagging us and asking our opinion. So I think it's the best time to discuss on this topic. Yeah, thanks, Shiv. Yeah, it's been a quite long journey for us
Yeah,
from past 1 year that we are doing this OT security huddle on different topics.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's nice to see, and the people are also getting engaged with this. And I think now we are crossing 5,000 followers for OT security huddle, and also on YouTube we are getting a good number of subscriptions. It's good to see that, that's a real motivation for us to do and collaborate with the industry folks.
Absolutely, yeah. This is a point of celebration that since last was 1 year, we have been able to reach at this point. And this community OT security hurdle is not very old. Like we started it 6 months ago, though we have been doing this session since last 1 year. So it actually makes the point that the work that we are trying to do is actually helping the community, and then this is the motivation factor. So thanks again to the community, and thank you, Manju, for taking time and then discussing these insightful sessions. So with that, I will now start sharing my screen, and I hope it is visible. So you know about the topic. It is cloud for OT, and this is myself and Manju. By now, you would know us, and if you don't, then please, maybe you can scroll our profile on LinkedIn. So, a formal disclaimer, like always, the OT Security Huddle is a community, as is it's an outcome of our personal interests. Whatever we are discussing here is our personal opinion, and it has nothing to do with the day job that we have been working with the organizations. So, it only be treated as a knowledge, not as a statement or official outcome of the jobs that we do. So, in this session today, we will be discussing a comparison between what is the traditional OT versus the modern OT. Where does the cloud fit in into these modern OT infrastructures? Then we will be going through the benefits of cloud adoption. After that, we will see what are the recent developments that has been happening in this technological area. Finally, we'll discuss the risk and challenges, and of course, the security element of the overall cloud adoption for OT. Finally, a bunch of use cases, and at the end, we will be taking your questions on this particular topic. Okay, then. So the first thing, then, when we discuss about the cloud for OT, is the comparison between what is the traditional OT versus the modern OT infrastructure. So one big key difference, before I hand it over to Manju for commenting on this particular slide, is that when the traditional ICS systems are designed, they are designed for a specific technological outcome or a specific automation outcome. And because of this, there were constraints in terms of operational requirement, not the networking requirement or security requirements. And they were designed in such a way that they will do the work they were designed to do. Beyond that, if you try to achieve something from these systems, the protocol would not allow it, the system resource will not allow it, or the architecture itself will not allow it. So that's that is the main difference between the traditional OT versus the modern OT, which is typically very scalable, very advanced. It uses the technologies of today, like 5G, or maybe cloud computing, or the cluster-based computing, all those things. So I'll comment again on this one, but now over to you, Manju. What do you feel is the changes that had happened, and how the traditional OT is different from your modern OT infrastructures?
Yeah, as you can see on the left side, we have given the points as traditional OT, and on the right side you can see the modern OT, what it covers. So when we talk about traditional operational technology systems, it's called isolated or air-gapped networks. What do you mean by air-gapped networks? It means usually the legacy systems are not connected directly to the internet or other external networks. So this, definitely it improves the security, but the problem is, it is make it difficult for any remote operations or monitor and manage the systems, old systems. But whereas in modern technology, where we started using the commercially off the shelf, and also we started connecting with the more connectivity and also the data integration. and started connecting to the internet and external networks. What happens is this will allow you to integrate all these improved data integration will definitely we can make use of the big data analytics, as well as you can do the remote monitoring, and also the management capabilities, which is always the top management will seek for. And traditional OT, as we have seen, it uses the proprietary hardware and software. That means, all these traditional OT system, uh, which is not compatible with other system. Let us say I'm using one vendor's DCS could probably directly not communicated with the other OEM's software or hardware. So this is also one of the hindrance that we can see. So this can overcome in the modern OT. And in the traditional OT, we have some kind of limited connectivity, and also as I spoke, the remote access capabilities as well. So definitely, we need some kind of centralized location where you can manage the entire system, right? So easily you can troubleshoot any problem which arises. So in the modern OT, we have seen, also we will be talking about some of the use cases where you can go and monitor in the centralized location. And as Shiv mentioned, it's traditional OT. We have some limited scalability and the flexibility. You cannot easily add some components, or you can go and up or down meet changing needs. So, but this can be at problem sometimes where you cannot integrate with the newer technologies all of a sudden, where also directly it affects the operational efficiency. So in the modern OT, we will overcome with these, but when we migrate from the traditional OT to the modern OT, always there is a high risk, and also it requires a lot of skills, and skilled personnel, and careful planning is required. Okay, but definitely you will have an advantage of the operational efficiency, as well as on the safety part as well. That also we will touch upon. Yeah, Shiv, based on your experience, I think we have seen both the traditional OT systems as well as on the modernization, what is happening in the currently in the industry. So, based on your experience, what do you foresee on this kind of transition? You know.
Yeah, so one big differentiation between the traditional OT and modern OT is the kind of technology that is being used in the traditional OT, where we have seen this Purdue layers of architecture. You will have a PLC, which is talking to the sensors, and PLC will take the controlling of the sensors and actuators and the other systems, the physical layer. And then it will give this information to a human machine interface that in turn will communicate with the SCADA. So that is the traditional architecture, very, very layered. Whereas the modern OT system is based on the technologies that are directly talking to the sensors, actuators, and the other systems at the physical layer. They will communicate this information to a hub, and then the hub will then talk to your SCADA, your cloud system, which is basically giving you the analytics on the data. It will also give you the dashboards, which you can access either through web application or mobile application. It will do data storage, as well as it will also provide you the flexibility of monitoring these sensors and the actuators at different location. So that's the main difference, and that's where the development is actually happening moving forward. The all these traditional systems are virtualized. Yeah, there is already, if you know, a few months ago Siemens have released a virtual PLC, which is the system designed based on one of their product, and now you can actually virtualize the system and then maybe put up into your modern IT systems and take the flexibility of your uh, traditional OT system in terms of a PLC sitting on a PC and then talking to different IOs to work it out. So that basically is a hybrid system, but the modern OT, full-fledged modern OT, will basically be the sensors talking to a hub, and then the hub basically talking to a cloud-based system for further analysis. In fact, we had put up that architecture as well in this slide to give you a comparison and the understanding that how this traditional OT systems looks like. So what you see on the left hand side is the traditional architecture, where you have different levels, the physical layer, then you have your control layer, then supervisory layer, then in between your industrial DMG will come, and then finally your enterprise security zone. But the entirely modern architecture will be basically a device layer, the gateway layer, and the cloud layer. Of course, there are some this development and the transition from the traditional OT to the modern OT is not something which will happen overnight. There are some part of cloud technology already used in the traditional OT as well as a hybrid system. And one good example of that is your secure remote access. So the server will be put up in the cloud that will take care of all your access and everything, and then you will basically connect to your industrial DMG, and from there you will hop on to your ICS network. So that's how they work, and that's the main difference between your traditional and OT. And I think moving forward, we ought to move towards the more advanced technologies of device gateway and cloud, and the technologies like artificial intelligence and data analytics will definitely help in terms of generating more analytics on the plants that we have been traditionally not been doing. And one more thing that would I also like to highlight, that need for this modern OT is more towards getting that additional insight on the factory floor which were not available with the traditional OT system. And it will provide the flexibility in terms of modularity, in terms of scalability, and also it has the elements of sharing the data as well, and support of multi-vendor environment. Yeah, so that's my take on this traditional versus modern OT. What do you
Thanks,
like,
Chef.
Manju, here?
Yeah, if you see on the industry, whenever we talk about transitioning from traditional to modern OT, always we need a support from the government side or compliance or standard, you know, side. Now, if you look at the, the from International Society of Automation side or IIoT Consortium, they developed, a lot many frameworks and also the standards. If you look at 62443, I usually, for any components or system, ISA, Security Compliance Institute develops the certification scheme. So they have, last year they have included the IoT component certification scheme as well. So this is just to promote that kind of, moving from the traditional OT to the modern OT, because it requires a lot of time and effort. Suddenly, in a day or in a year, you cannot move directly from the traditional OT to the modern OT. So you need some kind of push. So that is where I felt, this IoT consortium started way back in 2014 or 15, and then ISA also recently, bringing the new standard, which is not yet published, fairly, focusing on IoT related architectures as well. So what I felt is, in the industry, people started understanding the requirement of how to leverage these new kind of new technologies. Uh, I mean, cloud computing, or even I think in the coming slides we will be talking about what are the recent development that happened by the some kind of the critical infrastructure institutes started releasing the guidelines. Even NIST has some guidelines related to cloud security. We are seeing a lot of changes happening. May not be up to the expectation from the industry 4.0 initiatives, but still we can say that in couple of years time, definitely, because of the new age technology like artificial intelligence, machine learning technologies. uh, Also, we are seeing a lot of nowadays it is easy to create an app by using the ready-made AI models. So some kind of ready-made tools which are open, publicly available, those open source AI tools also can bring into this modern OT. And ultimately, the ultimate goal is to have the the availability and safety of the equipments or the operational requirements from this, right? So this has to be taken care. Yeah, so that is my take on the the traditional OT to modern OT transition. So yeah, one good thing is, the highlight point is here is one important point I would like to mention. In traditional OT, we see a lot of like um, we used to have the communication protocols like Modbus, Profibus, all these traditional OT communication protocols. But in modern OT, as you can see, we have to use different kind of communication protocol which are generic in nature. Anyone can use it, right? I mean, towards this, there is also one of the interesting thing I need to bring to the notice of the audience, that the open process automation flow of, the forum also bringing the interoperability devices. I mean, all the OEMs are working towards this, either be it in the cloud or so that they are also modernizing. All the OEMs are putting their efforts to bring in all these technologies together, so that you, I mean, as an end user, you will not have that vendor lock-in in the coming years. So that is also one advantage of moving from traditional to modern OT.
Yeah, absolutely right. And the all the points that you brought are very very valid. And as we know that 62443 is also adopting to this change. And specifically, if you see, 1-6 is the standard that is being developed now for specifically focusing on the uh, cloud and the industrial uh, IoT adoption into the industrial control system. And moving forward, now let's discuss what could be the benefits of actually adopting the cloud. And a few of the things that we see is definitely we have already mentioned that there is a scalability and agility. What do we mean about that is like, uh, in the traditional OT, you design the system for a specific purpose, right? And then if you need to change it for, let's say, more integration, and maybe you're putting one more line and you are actually increasing the production load, so that capability was not there as such. Maybe you need to increase the licensing, and then sometimes you'd require to change the entire application or the entire network infrastructure. Your switch are not capable to take those that much of load, because all of these are specially designed for that particular system. So that thing was a problem, actually a problem. And to remove this is what we had the modern infrastructures using the technologies developed and tested in the IT world. They are being adopted in the OT world as well. One of the example is your SNMP based network monitoring and management solutions. So traditionally that is being done into the IT world, and now it is very well adopted in the OT world. Now we have NMS solutions used at the industrial control system factory floor to manage and monitor your switches and your other devices. Then it will also provide improved collaboration, like you can share the data in real time. The information that is going to cloud is available for further analysis. In traditional OT, if you have to do a data analytics, first you will gather that data and then you aggregate at a hub, and through DMG and multiple layers of security you will send it to the cloud for further analysis. And then when you get then insight, they might not be real time, so the time lag was there. And in few cases this will not be possible at all. You'll get the data offline, and then somebody will shift the data using a CD drive or a USB drive to a system, and from that system it might communicate to your IT network, and through the IT network it might get to the location where you do the further analysis. So those were the real challenges I have actually seen in some of the plants, that since the security layer was not there and the old system does not have the scalability available, somebody will physically enter this data into a system. The production data, like how many systems or how many products we have produced today, what is the variety, what is the uh, quality of those things. So this all was actually a time intensive task, and that actually makes a case for moving to a solution which provides this flexibility. And because of this, of course, there is a cost optimization, like the history about why we had the cloud computing is because some of the organization would have the resources which are unused, and some organization might require them, and that is the reason that we wanted to have the shared resource model, and the cloud computing came into for it. So we want to use the same advantage of cost optimization for your uh, OT systems as well, and this also makes a case for your operational expenditure and your capital expenditure. And finally, the whole argument of implementing the industrial IoT or your cloud system is around the data analytics and data management. You have better control on your data, and better analytics available. You might be interested to see your KPIs achieved every day, and every week or every month. And since the solutions are available already on the cloud platforms, this will further make a case for adopting the cloud technology. So these are four major use cases or the benefits of adopting the cloud technology. And
Yeah, these are very good points. One can easily understand by adopting the cloud technologies. Also, uh, there are two more things which are very important. All these the reputable cloud providers, right? So these people offer the robust security features built in, so that your data is at secure, like data will be encrypted and strong access control, and also sometimes they use the threat intelligence as well, all this. So what happens is when we use this kind of expertise built in, then maybe the IT team can little bit relaxed to focus more on the OT security aspects of it. I have seen in many cases from my past experience, when I think in few cases they started using moving everything to cloud, the asset performance management specifically, even for predictive maintenance, right? So in these cases, already the security features were built in, and the IT team were focusing more on the the OT security part, because all these are taken care, and also some kind of security monitoring. And also one good thing about this is we can have the the disaster recovery or business continuity planning when we adopt the cloud. So there are many such cases. There are some benefits about these adoption of the cloud. What happens is when we adopt these cloud technologies is it minimize the downtime, and even for your critical OT operations, it will be safeguarded in a way. Yeah.
no, that's a very valid point. Like, one is, of course, your improvement in terms of your functional requirement, but it is also an improvement in terms of your non-functional requirement, like security and your user experience. Like, you are actually bringing the data in the mobile application that will itself will enhance your experience. Security solutions native to cloud, they are available, but it is also a risk, and we are out to discuss that today because we are OT security huddle, and then we want to bring out the challenges and the security requirements when you are moving from your traditional OT to the cloud or based OT infrastructure. Yeah. So let's move ahead then, and then uh, let's discuss what are the recent developments we have been seeing, and what is the trigger for this particular session also.
Yeah, I think recently we I think most of you have seen. There is a publication released. I mean, new guidance on the cloud hosted supervisory control and data acquisition SCADA systems. Migrating to the cloud. So it was released by the National Cybersecurity Center UK. So how they come up with this guidance is basically they started talking to many industrial folks, and then they had some kind of engagement. And also if you see the Dragos report 2023, even they have mentioned that most of the not all the industry, I would say, mainly in power industries, or may not be in oil and gas, but uh, I have seen some kind of applications in specific to the power industry, where uh, people the where the industry folks are started migrating towards the cloud based SCADA system. And this guidance on the cloud hosted SCADA system, which will not dictate that you have to go and choose the cloud based SCADA system. It will not dictate in such condition, but rather how you can migrate from the existing your SCADA system to the cloud based SCADA system. And what, because it depends on the the your organization unique risk and challenges that pose, right? And also the specific technical requirements from this your particular organization, right? And also securing this cloud platform also a shared problem with IT, I would say, because in most of the end user side, and when we say OT security, still they think that it is IT's problem. But whereas now the maturity is coming up slowly, so that's why this guidance, is you can treat it as a guidance for how to migrate from the existing SCADA system to the cloud host. But if you see, this guidance has three major critical areas where you need to assess before jumping into the migration. First is understanding your business drives and the cloud opportunities, and second one is the organizational readiness, and third one is technology and cloud solution suitability. We will share the link if you are not. So first, understanding your business drives means there is always, you have to there should be you have to gain the flexibility, and then there should be some resilience and the scalability of this cloud opportunities, and also remote access improvements, and you have the centralized authentication and key management, which is very much required in the OT. Usually what we have seen in the traditional OT system, maintaining this, key management is little tedious task. It's not that easy. So this is where how you can slowly migrate from the traditional SCADA system to the cloud-based SCADA system. In a day you cannot do a full migration. Maybe what you can do is you can start with the hybrid model where without the cloud-based integration, maybe some kind of application which is not critical, you can slowly move those, specifically, for example, telemetry kind of thing. So you can slowly move into that direction, right? And also it's not only that, organizational readiness, because you should have the skilled personnel who has the understanding of the cloud based system as well as on your traditional OT systems. So you have to that kind of policies, procedure, how to move forward, and you should have the clear direction, right? And then also you can choose what kind of technology you want, whether it suits your organizational requirement or not. And coming back to the fourth point, I would like to seek Shiv's opinion on this, because he is more closely working with this kind of solutions. Shiv, would you like to comment on this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, as I mentioned previously, also, like there is a good traction that is happening in the industry about adopting the new technologies. And if you have seen the this year's CES conference, which happens in Las Vegas, uh, our Siemens' CEO has actually presented there a keynote. And one of the big discussion there was Siemens, the company's vision towards moving into industrial metaverse, which is more of adopting these technologies, software-defined controls, and data analytics and AI, and then virtualization of the systems. So this more is all of this will happen not in the traditional infrastructures, but the modern infrastructure like cloud. And you might see there are big collaborations that are coming with OEMs. You might find that all the big OEMs who are producing this control system, traditionally they have now collaboration with either Microsoft or AWS or any other cloud provider. The reason of this is to design the solutions which are cloud native, and then they will provide the flexibility of adoption by these either the integrators of these systems or the manufacturer of the solutions themselves. Another example is the virtual PLC that is being developed. And if you have to specifically look for SCADA solutions, there are n number of vendors who are already providing these solutions. Just do a simple Google search and you'll find information about that. But the big point here that you have also discussed, Manju, is what you actually want to migrate. The thing that you really want to migrate on cloud is more important. Either you are actually replicating the entire control system, or you're really taking the telemetry for your analysis. So these requirements will make a case, and based on these requirements only you will do the assessment of your risk, and then also assessment of your technology and other requirements, and based on that you'll take the decision. And that's the theme also. Like, so I have just now seen the comments the people who joined online, they are also putting the same comment that we need to do the risk assessment, do risk assessment first before actually moving towards the cloud. That's the key. And in fact, we will discuss in the coming slide why security is more important. One of the example I could quote here is a few years ago, like close to 5 years ago, I visited a plant, and they have implemented a cloud solution for the telemetry. And for the telemetry, they require that the data shall be brought to one server. And this, of course, it will be a OPC based server. And then from that OPC server, you will send this data to cloud for the additional insights. In this particular case, what happened? The risk assessment was not done. And what would happen in such cases, like traditionally these plants, some of them would be running on Windows XP, some of them will be running on Windows 7, some of them will be running on Windows 8 or so on. And when they have converged these networks, they did not design the network properly, and it has introduced the risk which were there from Windows XP to travel towards Windows 7. And this was the time when WannaCry's signature was very much prevalent. And because of this, rather than having any advantage in terms of data analytics, they actually had so many problems. Some of their system will crash, some of their systems or network will flood. So yeah, risk assessment is the key for actually any change that you would like to do in your infrastructure or your architecture. Yeah, so that's my take on this.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now we come to the risk and challenge part. You wanted to add something in the last slide, Manju?
No, no, no. Just I would like to appreciate your views on that. So maybe, yeah, we can go ahead and talk about risk and challenges when we migrate from or using the cloud technologies in the OT systems.
Okay. Yeah. So some of the risk that we see is when you put anything on the cloud, since it's on public clouds most of the time, then of course, if anything or any API which is available for open, it is susceptible to data breach, and that is a big security concern. Most of the cloud will have shared responsibility model, so you need to do the due assessment about your data that you are putting in the cloud. Access control is another big concern there. Uh, in your traditional OT environment, you have a granular control through multiple ways. Either it is a physical security, or you put the shift register, or maybe you are creating your user account. You have those multiple layers of control. But in cloud, though, there are solutions available, but you need to configure them properly so that the access is only given with your need to know principle or least privilege principle. And then there are security concerns like vendor lock-ins, like the different vendors will have different lock-in times, and during those times you might either get the support, not get the support, or these kind of challenges you might face. Then, when you mentioned about the control and telemetry part, this second point comes in picture, the reliability and latency. So your decision shall be based on what is the KPI that you are trying to achieve with your cloud migration. If there is non-tolerable latency when you are communicating, then it is a no-go for you. Uh, the OT as such, the traditional infrastructure, if you put, then definitely there would be challenge in terms of the communication. But the IIoT kind of solution where you have this sensor layer or the device layer communicating to a hub, and then the hub is sending the data to cloud. Uh, there, these time critical requirement is on the different side compared to your traditional ICS infrastructure. Then compliance is a big issue. You see lots of regulations are coming, and every year we hear about the big breaches that are happening continuously. So when you are migrating, we need to be very careful about the data that we are putting in the cloud. This will have not only our own security concerns or availability concerns, that might also have consequence in terms of regulation requirement. And the punishments are very high. If you see NIS2, it actually puts 2% of your overall business. If you see another Cyber Resilience Act, it will also have huge fines and uh, penalties. So you need to assess what is the benefit you are driving when you are putting it in the cloud. Then, of course, the challenge You need to think in a different way rather than thinking in the traditional OT way, and engage with the right professionals who can actually guide that, okay, what is the part of your plan that you can actually put up into the cloud. And finally, without the trained professional support, you would not be able to do it. You require professionals who would guide you on the requirement of the system, automation systems, but also the security requirement. You need to engage the security professional from the design phase itself so that they can actually do the risk assessment and then design the secure protocols, secure communication hierarchy, and secure system as such. Yeah, so these are the challenges and the risk which we need to assess uh, before actually taking a decision on the cloud part. What would you like to add here, Manju?
Yeah, if you look at specifically on the integration challenges, before going to that, I mean, we need somebody who can convince the end user side that okay, why we are moving towards cloud and what are the benefits. And as we know that we are bringing a lot of attack vectors or threat scenarios. May not be not the recent cases, but still when we the moment you say the it is integrated, I mean connected to the internet, always there is a fear, right? Because a lot of ransomware attacks happened last year, even though it is on the IT based systems. But definitely when we connect to the cloud based systems, there is always a high risk of this data breaches, right? So
Yeah,
some kind of security mechanism should be in place. That is one of the biggest challenges. Like you need proper skilled personal training, and for me these two are really important if we really want to move towards the say, cloud based any systems. Like as you said, PLCs are there and SCADA system. This is one such change, development recently happened, the guidance. But likewise, there are many, since we are moving towards the digitalization of the plant, it takes some time, but still, see that, in maybe 5 years down the line, at least in the some of the substation automation or may not be in oil and gas, which is critical, but maybe in railway systems, there is a huge potential in the transportation sector. Definitely not in marine, probably. Yeah, I mean, these are some of the challenges that I can see on a sector wise.
yeah, yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah, so maybe now we'll move to the last section of the discussion, the security considerations. Over to you, Manju. Would you like to give a walkthrough?
yeah.
Yeah,
So definitely, as we have seen, the when we talked about the risks, the first thing we talked about the security. So why it has become necessary for us to look after this, security aspects of the whole ecosystem of this cloud integration. No, first and foremost, this implementing robust data encryption and also the access control mechanism is very much essential. Why? Because we have seen the data in transit or data at rest should be encrypted, because the data is the key. Data is the new oil. That is a term we coined, right? So we have to use a strong encryption mechanisms algorithm. With cloud that is possible, but with the traditional it was very difficult to use all kind of cryptographic algorithms. And also the strong access control also should be assigned to the only the authorized personnel can maybe we can use the based on the principle of least privilege, uh, right? Then as a security consideration, you can segregate, or you have to properly segment the network. And also you can use of the firewalls, which plays a crucial role here in securing the cloud based OT systems as well. When I say the network segmentation, you can segment the network such as your enterprise and the IT and the internet. That is also key. Implementing all these firewall rule with strict, access rules, definitely it help you prevent any kind of unauthorized access or certain potential threats. For because the moment you talk about cloud, then there is a high chance that the new threat vectors will come into picture. And then comes the the very another critical aspect, that is identity and access management, where you use the the strong authentication mechanism, such as you can use multi-factor authentication. Also you have to regularly review all these unnecessary Excel privileges. Uh, Definitely, it will reduce the risk of any unauthorized access. And then continuous monitoring and threat detection. Nowadays, I've seen there are many OEMs or the solution provider who brings this cloud-based solution like SIM in the use cases. We'll touch upon that. Uh, and incident response and disaster recovery, this is one of the key feature that when we talk about the cloud based OT system, where you can have multiple your backup recovery systems in different locations, right? It's not only you can have on premises cloud based solution or off publicly available cloud solutions. There are many such places where you can keep your backup when there is an incident happened or disaster. So it will become easier for you to recover from those disaster. And then finally, vendor security assessment, which is again it's very crucial, because there are a lot many cloud service providers available for OT system, and all the IT players who are coming into this OT domain. Probably they have the technology with them, but they try to bring their OT expertise also into this forum, and then but assessing which vendor, I mean, is suitable for my cloud migration. So this due diligence is required as part of the security consultation. Shiv, would you like to add few more?
No, yeah, so you have explained it very well. The first key consideration is, of course, you are actually sharing your sensitive operational data and your control commands to the cloud, which will be shared over internet. So a robust encryption is the necessity there. And once you have shared it there, then of course you would require a robust identity and access management. And the good thing is both of these solutions are very much available for the cloud solution provider. Apart from this, most of the point you have covered, but one of the key point is to also manage the privilege access management for the people who are accessing the data for usage for different requirements. In terms of the compliance side, I would also like to bring that so far you have been dealing with IEC 62443 and 27001, but when you are migrating to the cloud, you need to do additionally with the SOC 1, SOC 2 kind of requirements as well. So you need to first take a informed decision that what is the compliance there, because clouds are generally shared responsibility model. So not only you need to assess your own security, you need to assess the security of the platform as well. And whenever there is an issue with the platform, you need to be agile enough to actually take a quick action and then a remediation measure, which you have mentioned in terms of incident response and disaster recovery. Yeah, so those are the points, and of course you need to ensure the business continuity. So uh, a mix of all these requirements shall be there, and when you are allowing your vendors, a very granular access control and monitoring would be required for these different people who are accessing your information there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think now we will focus on different use cases where we can already some of the cloud solutions are being used in the industry. Uh, we can touch upon these some of the use cases.
Sure. Yeah. So first of all, yeah, first use case that we want to discuss is, of course, the remote monitoring and diagnostic. So this makes a classical case that you want to take your data to the cloud and then you want to monitor and also do your predictive maintenance. And one of the use cases is to analyze the data, your process information, and then based on that, you will have the telemetry and analyze it and then send the message to the asset owner that okay, these are the systems that are wearing out and you might need to do the predictive maintenance. So this is one example, and the cloud can actually provide you real-time monitoring of your assets to do this analysis. Second point, of course, is the security monitoring. You had already talked about this Manju earlier, but yeah, since we have the information available, the data is coming already from different sources in the telemetry. So this cloud use case would be a better suitable option for the asset owner. Then we have requirement like smart maintenance, as I mentioned about predictive analysis, the planning of the plant shutdown, and would be more effective because you know when you need to plan rather than actually having a fixed time that we will only do in the month of March. If you are already seeing that maybe 20% of my system requires a repair, so you can define your shutdown times, and this will actually reduce your downtime because you will only be down for that particular point in time, whereas your fixed shutdown, if you do, and then when you are doing the maintenance you might uncover additional wear and tear, which might either have non-available parts and then maybe supply chain issues, so that will also be reduced. And finally, of course, since you have n number of tool already available, your data is your arm's length away. You can actually do disaster recovery easily, and your backups can also be immediately used when there is a issue. But there is, of course, a caveat when you are using your backups in the cloud. You need to do a due risk assessment that what kind of backups you are actually keeping in cloud. So your OT is in cloud, your backup is also in cloud. So this can actually become a security issue. So you need to basically think how you want to utilize the cloud infrastructure for. And only that a due risk assessment, detailed risk assessment according to ISO 62443 can tell what could be your better model in terms of your disaster recovery and backup. Yeah, so these are few use cases. Would you like to add something here, Manju?
Yeah, I mean, overall, if you look at the cloud integration into the OT system, more and more use cases we are finding it, right? Starting from because of this, also, like ISC 62443, also bringing this IoT components also into the OT industry. It's there. But what I could say, I can say is overall, if you look at it, in a couple of years, I can see there will be much more integration of into the cloud system. Obviously, there are risk challenges what we have identified. Definitely, it will be moving forward. We can see many more such, and also the governments are bringing good initiatives like smart city, right? Smart city.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so on such cases, and even in the power industry, specifically, what I have seen from the government initiative, even if you go back to any government, even in India, I have seen there are a lot many importance given to the cloud-based systems, even in the critical infrastructure industry.
Yeah.
So overall, it has a very good future, I would say. As part of Industry 4.0 initiative, we have to often talk about digital transformation. I think whenever we talk about digital transformation, it's automating the things, but by using leveraging the cloud technologies as well.
Yeah,
What do you say?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Thanks for adding that, Manju. And I think that brings to the end of the presentation today. Now we can take maybe questions. So I don't see much of the question today. One of the question is cloud adoption to OT infra will bring a lot of risk to ecosystem which needs to look up before implementation. Yeah, so this we have already covered. Thanks for adding, Akshay. And then there is one question. Uh, there are more requirement of cloud-based SCADA in wind energy. How we are implementing the security and hardening guidelines for Microsoft Azure. There are also use of Ubuntu, maybe thin client or something. Yeah, so this is also a comment. Yeah, so why there is a specific requirement the wind energy is the systems are very small. You will have a small control system for managing that wind turbine, and then there will be n number of turbine at one single location. So it makes a sense that the same system will communicate with the cloud and remotely you are monitoring them. There is no need to be sitting at the same site. And these kind of infrastructure like solar energy is another example, and maybe a small bottling plant is another example where you have small systems. So these are the infrastructure that are adopting this technology fast, rather than your bigger entities like a steel manufacturing, which is a cascading number of plants dependent on each other, and then you have real time requirement available. So there the adoption is slow, of course, but yeah, these use cases like wind energy, solar energy, food and beverage, and other small entities, they might adopt it faster.
And also the latency is also one of the key point here.
Yeah,
Even there could be slight delay. That is okay for this kind of plants.
yeah. Okay, so we don't have any further question. Yeah, so maybe we can wind it up now. So before
Yeah.
that, I would like to thank everyone again for joining today. And if you feel that you are interested into some specific topic, you can submit that topic either on LinkedIn or maybe today in the chat box. We would like to take your suggestion for the next sessions. And thanks, Manju, for joining and then putting the effort for the information. I think for me it was a very good discussion. I definitely learned a few things from you, and I hope the same is true for the people joining online. So have a very good rest of your evening. We will see you soon in the next session of OT Security. Thank you. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Thanks, Shiv. Thanks, everyone.